Welcome everyone around the world. It is time for the semifinals, a Pro Tour return to Ravnica here in Seattle, Washington, United States of America. Rich Hagan, Brian David Marshall in the commentary box for you. And we will begin with David Ochoa of the United States on the left, up against Yuya Watanabe, your reigning player of the year on the right. BDM, what is the matchup?
The matchup is Channel Fireball Jun versus Channel Fireball Jun. Two people who've been working together over the last few seasons. Yuya Watanabe is playing the Kitchen Finks version, but David Ochoa is playing the Geralt's Messenger version.
So the, as you describe it, the matter antimatter version of that particular card.
I like antimatter Jun for the Geralt's Messenger version quite a bit.
Yeah. You like anti almost anything.
I am very contrarian.
You are. So straight away, we get to see Dark Confident, Tarmogoyf, Bloodbraid Elf, 3-land off that turn 1 Thoughtseize from Watanabe, and he will send Dark Confident packing. Dark Confident that essentially won Watanabe his quarter-final matchup. What now seems a long time ago against Kelvin Chu. Terrific effort for Kelvin.
A real nail-biter there, where it looked like for a minute Yuya could just actually lose to his Dark Confidants.
Yep. With the S being the important bit of that, Dark Confidence.
Yes.
So, Cover It Live being asked who will win this feature match between Ochoa and Watanabe. It's obviously tight. Two great players, two very similar decks.
I mean, Yuya Watanabe with over 300 lifetime pro points and counting here.
This weekend, yeah, and he's a whole 23 now.
Yeah. Eligible for Hall of Fame induction in the class of 2015.
Ah, okay.
Right? Because
Gives you a couple of years off, yeah. Tarmogoyf turn 2 from David Ochoa. On the back table, we have Stanislav Sivka of the Czech Republic against Li Shiqian of Hong Kong. We'll be bringing you plenty of action from their semi-final.
We talk about
15.
the Relic of Progenitus in Studio B. I gotta tell you, I watched him win on turn 4 through Jun Charm, through Relic of Progenitus.
This is Sivka.
Sivka,
yeah.
So, he just needs, if he gets 2 copies of his, Second Sunrise type spell, Second Sunrise, or he can win through that.
So Watanabe will deliver the first Planeswalker to the board and says sacrifice. And Ochoa will let his Tarmogoyf die. It isn't a huge threat right now, whereas Dark Confident is going to draw him card after card after card.
0.
On this occasion, a nice fat 0, which is exactly what you want, and he then draws into Thoughtseize for his turn.
And Dark Confidant's going to have a shot to avenge its fallen comrade here.
Yeah. So there is the land that Ochoa just drew. He's instantly going to crack that. Land number 4 appears.
The mousetrap-like snap of Yuya Watanabe's cards.
Yeah.
And he puts a piece of plywood in each sleeve.
First bit of Cascade in action. Didn't see much of that from Ochoa in his quarterfinals. And he will get rid of 3 land and find Deathrite Shaman coming along for the ride with the Bloodbraid Elf, which has haste, of course, in addition to being 3/2.
Yep.
And so Dark Confident will aim at Liliana, which finishes off the Planeswalker, and the Bloodbraid Elf attacks in for 3.
Bloodbraid Elf has been feeding on the blood of Planeswalkers for some time now.
And number 4 for Watanabe.
And Bloodbraid Elf.
Yeah, and there we go. And has his own Deathrite Shaman. So again, the big difference here is that Dark Confident that you see deliver a Deathrite Shaman at the cost of 1 life. Damage is equal to the the converted mana cost, so lands deal no damage at all. It's a Raging Ravine going into Ochoa's hand. Watanabe has a lot of land in hand right now. In fact, that's all he has in hand right now. One of them is a Treetop Village, so at least not just a mana producer, but certainly advantage at this early stage of Game 1. Best of 5, remember, here.
We saw huge swings in the last Jund Mirror where it looked like one person was on top and then it would just change in a heartbeat.
And there's another Bloodbraid Elf, which this time cascades into Lightning Bolt. So Ochoa will take a moment to look at his own hand just to see what he wants to do with the bolt. Imagines it's the Bloodbraid Elf. It is. So then he will put his hand down and head for the red zone. What with?
Send everybody. You can send the Death Ray Shaman too, right? It's a 1/2.
Mm-hmm.
If he chooses to block the Dark Confidant.
Which is what you would expect if Ochoa is prepared to send everything.
Yeah.
He is. And indeed, let's get rid of that source of repeatable card advantage.
Take 7.
But Watanabe is down well inside single digits. He's just at 5 and in a lot of trouble.
Thoughtseize whiffs.
I will show you the nothing in hand. And we're going to be off to the races with a 1-0 lead to David Ochoa very, very soon, one would imagine. Liliana, I think. No, scoop him up.
Yeah.
And we're done. So there you are, very, very quickly. David Ochoa of Channel Fireball takes the lead, 1-0 over your reigning player of the year, Yuya Watanabe.
See the player's just Yuya shuffling his entire deck, and sideboard together, and then removing 15 cards. Doing the same thing. So we heard David Ochoa in an interview with Rashad Miller after the quarterfinals talking about his sideboard plan, but we'll talk about that after this.
Okay, if you're a gamer, you're sure to have an opinion. Share your thoughts about Magic the Gathering event coverage by taking part in a brief online survey. Visit wizards.com/Pro Tour survey to give us your feedback. So we head down to the back table. Hold that thought, BDM. I know you're a gamer, so you will have an opinion. But we are into action here.
Oh, cards.
And I can tell you that on the right of your screen is Li Shijian. On the left of your screen, Stanislav Sivka. And the live totals here, 14 Sivka, 15 Li Shijian. Chan has Search for Tomorrow in play. And looks like Conjurer's Bauble and an Elsewhere Flask. Is that right?
Yes.
For Sivka, who has therefore 7 cards in hand. Serum Visions, double sleight of hand. He's got 2 Faith Rewards, at least 1 Second Sunrise in hand. All very blue-green on the other side of the table at the moment for Lee, who watches as sleight of hand. Finds a Chromatic Sphere and a Reshape, yeah. And Reshape will join the party.
No, 5 cat. No, 6 cat. 7 cat, okay.
How many cards you got? 5? 6? No, it's actually 7.
Yeah, you draw, yes.
Yeah, and the other card was Silence in Sivka's hand.
Which I think is going to be a big card for him in all the games. He's going to go up to 4, I think.
Right.
For the later games.
Okay.
So with the Reshape, the Silence, he can... So he's going to play Silence. And will this resolve?
Do you play land?
No.
Yeah.
I think
No
so.
being the important word.
I got 3 and I get it back from sunrise, so I didn't.
Yeah.
So apparently we've had a second sunrise.
A first, second sunrise.
A first, yeah.
Okay.
We've had a sunrise.
But it's still a second sunrise. It's like if you think twice, how many times have you thought? Have you ever tried to answer that one? Well, I don't know. It depends, doesn't it? Is it 3? Is it 4? It's like one of those magic square things. You have to count the squares. Silence is still waiting to happen or not.
1?
Take one first, and then search.
Take one and then I search.
So he realizes I might as well counter the silence and see if I can't. We know he has a cryptic command.
6 cut right.
See if I can't disrupt him somehow. Put him off an artifact that he needs.
Be a lot of people watching this back home in the Czech Republic. Around about 11:30 at night in Prague and associated territories. Bounce, he says. And we're going to see.
Destroy.
Okay, so Ghost Quarter away, my island in response.
And make my 2 piles.
Yeah.
Permanents that have gone to the graveyard this turn. And my graveyard. So he Ghost Quarters his own tapped island in response.
Yeah.
Which is probably what he was going to do anyway if he doesn't have a land in hand.
Gets a Hallowed Fountain. The new Hallowed Fountain.
Cryptic command result.
Cryptic Command resolves. Silence goes away.
But his opponent's tapped out.
Yeah, so
Second
Just as
sunrise.
good.
What time?
Targeting second sunrise.
So Conjure Bauble, second sunrise under the bottom of his graveyard. And cast Reshape. Sacrificing the Elsewhere Flask
yep.
for 0, which means he goes and gets a Lotus Bloom, shuffles that second sunrise back into his deck from the bottom
Yes.
in the process.
Was really interested to hear Sheldon during the halftime show talk about what a hugely high chess rating.
So that's what he was
Such
doing
as-
when he wasn't playing Magic. He wasn't as involved in Magic for a while. He was playing very, very high level tournament chess.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't quite know what 2,500 means, but lots of people nodded sagely, so I presume that's quite a lot. Second sunrise.
So you see, he's going to get his 3 artifacts back.
Trigger on a stick.
Trigger on the stack.
Thinking.
Thinking. Always good. They are just underway in Watanabe against Choa.
So you see what he's doing is with the trigger for the card draw on the stack, he's put a second sunrise under, and then he's going to shuffle it back in with the Ghost Quarter that he's just returned to play.
Okay.
Ghost Quartering a tap land, he actually just converts it into an island. And we know he's got a handful of second sunrise. And again, just trying to build up a critical mass of those cards in his deck.
Mm-hmm.
Faith's Reward and second sunrise.
Yeah, he has 3 of them in hand right now.
Right. Which is generally the number where he just begins to get a little stupid.
Yeah, that was the pretty memorable quote, actually, from this morning. Pedro Carvalho, show me the 3 second sunrises and I'll concede.
So all of that's happened with Elsewhere, Flasks, card draw still on the stack.
Okay.
Is it correct?
asking.
Is it tomorrow yet? Because he's been searching for it. This game may well end with that one counter still there.
Just can you confirm with?
Yeah. Acknowledge the trigger and then do these things in response to this stuff.
Okay.
So I draw a card, right? Okay.
So now, that resolves.
Let's see. All right.
Go and get through an island.
Attempt to spell pierce.
6 card.
6.
Okay, on you go. So finally, we do get to draw off that Elsewhere Flask trigger. Now down comes colour fixing notionally, but
Okay.
is that okay? Yes.
Blue. Draw a card.
Now up to 4 of the Sunrise slash Faith's Reward. There's 2 of each.
3 white.
3 white, so
So do you have the second? Do you have the spell pierce here?
well, no.
No, actually, I don't.
No.
It's only mine. It's not applied.
He was looking to get an extra
For-
mana.
in my graveyard, it's in the
Faith's Reward is only. It's not like Second Sunrise. Second Sunrise is all graveyards. Faith's Reward is just yours.
Yeah, how,
You got to,
No mana left.
but you have just now 1 and. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, so it's all fine.
Trigger on a stack.
3 white mana, but blue mana.
Blue
Still
mana
got blue
from the star.
Yeah, he's floating through the star and then popping.
mana? Okay. Yes.
Yes, I
Trigger
understand
some
how
stack.
you're beating me.
Yes.
I comprehend it now. Many artifacts return.
So again, he put the Elsewhere Flask on the stack.
Yes.
Shuffle back in.
Draw for the Elsewhere Flask.
Destroy.
Yes.
Ghost Quarter. Thin my deck a little bit. Lightning Bolt, by the way, taking out a Bloodbraid Elf. David Ochoa has also got a Fulminator Mage trying to battle down a Liliana of the Veil, which, despite that attack from Fulminator Mage, still has 2 counters on it for Watanabe. That's what's going on in Game 2 over there. We'll go back there, of course, at the end of this first game here and settle in for some Jund-on-Jund action while Faith's Reward and Second Sunrise continues to do its thing for Stanislav Sivka, but we'll see how this one plays out first.
Draw for a flask.
Draw off the flask. He's drawn Pyrite Spellbomb. That is his kill in
Blue.
the deck. Cycle through.
Silence.
3 white.
Drawn into silence. There goes Lotus Bloom yet again.
2 white. Silence.
And he's going to cast Silence with just 1 white mana and say, okay, you can now do nothing. So,
Like, yeah. Yes.
so now down comes more cycling through. Mana starts occurring. Draw a card.
Silence.
Sacrifice. And now off we go again. Second Sunrise. This time, Li Shichan does get a land back, but that is not going to be of great service to him because, of course, Silence has now happened.
Right. He can't use his mana for anything, even though.
No, so
Madam.
already has the Pyrite Spellbomb in hand.
Right now, it's just a matter of thinning his deck, getting enough
Destroy.
chromatic spheres and chromatic stars, get enough lands out of his deck with his Ghost Quarter. So that it's impossible for him to miss.
Yeah. But already we're at the point where essentially it's done, isn't it?
I think this game is over, yeah. We have a Batter Skull from Yu Yu Watanabe,
Yep.
holding off Fulminator Mage, Bloodbraid Elf, and
A 4/5
and a
Tarmogoyf.
4/5 Tarmogoyf, yeah.
Sifka continues to go through the motions.
Got it. You draw it.
Do you draw what? Yeah, there's the
Got
Pirate
everything.
Spellbomb.
All right.
So,
I didn't play on, right?
You have not. You have not.
Okay.
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, so now down comes Loud, and we're going to see this go away. We have seen this Ghost Quarter play many times. Again, thin the land a little bit more.
Deathrite Shaman's joined the team for Yu Yu.
Mm-hmm.
And we're down to just a Bloodbraid Elf for David Ochoa.
I know a lot of you are very excited about finding out where all the Grand Prix are going to be later next year. We have the announcement, I think it's from March through to August. The second tranche, certainly, will be unveiled between the semis and the final. Marshall and the gang back in the
Tranche.
news desk. Tranche. It's like ranch, but polite. Conjurer's Bauble from Sifka. Everything in the world in hand. Still 2 Faith's Reward and a second Sunrise.
3 white.
Sure.
3 white. Here we go again.
Ions.
Yes.
And now for 4 mana, Faith's Reward. Doesn't need to wait for Chan to get in the way in any way. He can't.
Triggers on stick.
Triggers on the stack.
Destroy. Destroy.
Destroy, destroy. So now we're into double Ghost Quarter mode.
And he doesn't have any lands left in his deck, but again, he just wants to. He doesn't want that card automatically being on the bottom of his deck.
Yep. So that deck is getting pretty thin
So
now.
Sifka's shown him this Pirate Spellbomb.
Yes.
And he's just not
Well,
choosing
the
to.
thing is, Sifka didn't show him. Li Shi-chan said, "Show me. Do you have it?" Was what he said.
Yeah.
And at that point, Sifka's like, "Well, all right. Well, yes, I have." So it wasn't like Sifka was just thought you might like to see this. You know, he got asked the question, so it was like, "Well, there's no reason not to tell you that I have." And then Li Shi-chan just kind of shrugs and goes,
Oh, cool.
Good to know. Hey, nice art." And then on we go. So not quite sure what Li Shi-chan is hoping for here, other than maybe just a slight element of trying to exhaust Sifka through you
mean,
do it.
He's
When you
done
do it,
That's
this
pretty cool.
32 times successfully.
It's 0.
Yep.
Okay.
He's reshaping for 0. He's going to have 2 Lotus Blooms now.
There we go. Watanabe still has a Liliana of the Veil in play with 1 counter. He has Dark Confident in play as well. He's just lightning bolted David Ochoa. David Ochoa has nothing but land in play. Pretty good bet that Watanabe is going to head towards 1-1 in that one.
3 white.
A much better bet is that Sifka is going to be 1-0 up. I nearly said shortly, but that may not necessarily be
it
true.
might not be shortly. You see
So-
all the lands he's
Yeah.
You started this turn with
Draw card.
4 lands.
Card. Got into another bit of chromatic action.
Madam.
Bottom. Draw.
Destroy.
Destroy. So again, he just gets to shuffle around.
Cycle.
Sure.
Cycle. Cycle. Cycle.
That's all of them.
6 white.
Reading some comments on Cover It Live about coverage. For those of you who don't know, European Grand Prix moving forward, starting with Lyon in 2 weeks' time, will have full video coverage. Got a fantastic team coming your way.
So as it turns out, the 7th sunrise was enough for Shi Tian Li to pack it in.
Okay,
He's like, okay, that one, that's the one I'll concede.
Okay.
I think we're going to go back to see a game 3 between Player of the Year, Yu Watanabe, and first-time top 8er, David Ochoa.
To my notes now.
That is indeed the plan.
David has a timeline here, by the way. He needs to win before... Oh, never mind. Let's talk about this.
Czech Republic has a top 75 finisher. That's cashing. USA, of course, does. These are your top 8 players rolling by. But how many would you think in the top 75, given there are so many US players at the top of the world game? There's Eduardo going by. Congratulations to him out in the quarterfinals. And we're giving each time the highest place finisher from that country. So Willie Adel ahead in the standings of Pedro Carvalho.
Gabriel Nassif, who was 9th or 10th?
Yeah, 10th. I think Ari Lax finished 9th. Maxim Grin, a terrific weekend again for him.
It was a great weekend.
He was second at the Grand Prix last weekend. Miguel Gadeca going by for Costa Rica. Well done, Zoltan Tapady. Good man, Hungary in the top 16 or so. Robin Dola never quite got into top 8 contention, but was always in and around the top tables. You see Marco Cavaluzzi going by. Dennis Rashid was the highest placed Swede.
Which was around where?
Still in top 32 at this point. Bruce Pye, similarly, you're into your 20s now or so. Paul Heynen was the highest placed Netherlands guy. Ruben Snedevide did pretty well as well, if memory serves. Once again, you see Thomas Holtzinger cashing at a Pro Tour. He's very impressive. Well done, Alexander Matveyev from Russia. And if you're keeping track of these countries, there are a lot of them. To be honest, that's why we put this together for you. There are more countries represented in the top 75 than either of us can ever remember. You see Turinkovsky, the lead Finn there. And as we head sort of, into the low reaches, you're down into your sort of 30s and your 40s now with Poland, Jan Prochniewicz. Even Flock was the top Slovak player from the Slovak Republic. Malaysia, represented by Chi Chung-Hyu. Congratulations to him. And China, Bo Li ended up overtaking his Liu Yu, who was for a long time the leading Chinese player. Latvia going by there. Scotland, Stephen Murray. It turns out that represents 27 nations with players who cashed at this event. 27 countries. Fantastic. Just fantastic. Well done to one and all, and congratulations to all who will be coming back. Top 25, of course, guaranteed their slot when we return for the Pro Tour in Montreal in 2013, February the 15th through the 17th. For that one. I was just saying, BD, I'm very excited to be bringing live video coverage to European Grand Prix. Talking of people who are very successful at Pro Tour level, you have Matej Zatelkai, runner-up from Pro Tour Berlin in 2008. You have Hall of Famer Frank Karsten will be on the video coverage team. You have 4-time Pro Tour top 8 man Moraine Leibert of Belgium on the coverage team. And we have a Pro Tour champion in Simon Gertzen.
Oh, very nice.
And to top it all off, when it comes to magic, raw talent, not to mention sex appeal, me.
Me, Rashad Miller?
Me, Rashad. No, turns out not. So we're very much looking forward to as many of you as possible joining us in Lyon in a couple of weeks' time, and then there'll be Bochum a couple of weeks after that, and then we go to Lisbon in Portugal. That's going to become a regular fixture. You're used to North American Grand Prix being on your laptops and your iPads and your phones and your 50-inch plasmas. Coming to Europe 2 weeks' time. So let's take a look at the sideboards for these two, David Ochoa and Yuya Watanabe. We'll see what cards they've got available to work with, and BDM will cast his eye over that sideboard right there for David Ochoa. We've got the 3 Slaughter Games, 3 Fulminator Mage, Pyroclasm, Olivia, a couple of Batterskulls there, Obstinate Baloth, 2 Jun Charm, Grafting's Cage, and Ancient Grudge. What do you reckon?
Well, we definitely saw in the last game that David Ochoa has brought in the Ancient Grudge, obviously with a mind towards the batter, dealing with Batterskull. In fact, that is how he dealt with it. Both players may be bringing in Batterskull. I just saw Yuya Watanabe taking a very hard, long look at Olivia Voldaren. Is this a card he wants to bring in? We saw him actually eat a creature with it or actually just eat an attack step with it in his previous match. I know that David Ochoa has been bringing Fulminator Mages in and out of his deck based on whether or not he's playing or drawing.
That's right, yes.
Not really liking Liliana, on the play as much as he likes it on the draw.
Right.
And vice versa. So.
Yeah, so there's some sideboarding to be done every game pretty much, depending on the
these guys
play
are
or
definitely
draw.
tinkering with their deck based on where they're going to be.
Sifka 1-0 up, remember, over Qian in the Eggs versus Scapeshift match, if you will. Jund on Jund here, now down to the best of 3, because they are at 1-1, so we'll have game 3 here. And we may stick with this one for a while, because we're expecting a fair old while on the back table. We'll get plenty more chance to see what's going on in that one. So let's take a look at Yuya Watanabe's sideboard as well. So he's obviously same deck essentially. Let's see what choices he's made in terms of his sideboard. There we go. You see Batterskull again.
Yeah, he's got the extra Abrupt Decay. He's got, I think he has one more Ancient Grudge, which may be why, David Ochoa doesn't want to bring in Batterskull.
Sure. Remarkably similar.
Yeah, remarkably similar. Slightly different numbers. I mean, the big difference in these two decks is really just the Kitchen Finks and the Drolf's Messengers. A couple of, removal spells here and there.
For sure.
But
so we're away into game 3, so let's get back to the action. It's just a Marsh Flats. That's all you've missed so far. So let's head on down to the table. There is that Marsh Flats on the left of your screen. So Watanabe will look at his first grasp of now 8 cards, because he's drawn for the turn.
So funny, I'm so used to playing Commander, where you play your fetch land and you sack it right away and you start searching and say, if something changes on your turn, I can change my mind, But not something you could do at this highest level of competition. You want to wait, see what your opponent does, and see if that changes your mind about, whether you get the red land, do you get the, what am I getting? What am I paying life? Am I not paying life? Do I need to bolt something?
Sure. And they see Deathrite Shaman comes down from Watanabe. Ochoa responds and says, I'm going to sacrifice this into a land which Watanabe has already interpreted as a lightning bolt that's going to kill his Deathrite Shaman, which is, of course, exactly
which jumps him to 3 mana on turn 2 with a fetch land.
Congratulations to Miguel Gattaca of Costa Rica, by the by. We said how fantastic a run Eduardo Sajgalik made to make it to the top 8, 10 straight wins. Miguel Gattaca of Costa Rica started out 1-3 and finished 12th. Great job.
That's amazing.
That is basically, he mirrored Sajgalik from that point on. He just kept on winning. Pretty fantastic stuff. Well done him.
So we see a Tarmogoyf from Ochoa. He's gonna looks like thought sees before he decides what his play is. Get a sense of what the next few turns look like for him.
I am very curious, BDM. It always puzzles me when people say they don't like mirror matches. To me, mirror matches are in some way like the purest form of the game, where I can't just beat you because, sorry, you don't have cards that interact with mine. It's like everything's fair and everything's contested and every little bit of ground is fought over. I love mirror matches. What am I missing?
I think everyone just gets something different out of Magic.
Sure.
You know, a lot of times you're looking to play a deck because you want to be advantaged, and the idea is that
Fine.
you know you're not eking out your advantage. You have to extract your advantage personally.
That I'm fine with. I'm thinking about watching.
Oh.
Playing. I want none of my opponents to have any cards that interact with me in any way. Clearly. Thoughtseize. Actually, I'm probably lying because I played blue-white mirrors all day.
Against yourself.
Have I got it? Have I got it? Well, have I?
They joke about the obstinate Baloth.
That's one of the favorite cards of our expert graphics wizard, John Malloy. He says, I love the art on that thing, because he looks like he really means it. Like, ugh. I turn up and what properly mean.
So only 2 lands for Ochoa here. So that's the pile of cards we're not taking. Yep. Besides, I know you only have 2 lands at the moment, but I don't want to deal with that Batterskull several turns from now.
Sure.
Which answers one of our sideboard questions.
Mm-hmm.
About Ochoa, he did bring that in.
6 cards in hand for Watanabe right now. There you see them. Victim of Night, Kitchen Finks, Lightning Bolt, and 3 land. I must say, Watanabe spent a lot of time today with a lot of land in hand. Doesn't feel to me like his deck has performed particularly as he might have expected. Obviously, we haven't seen every game, but we do frequently see him sitting there with a lot of cards that just sort of seems to just be over what you'd expect for number of land. Obviously, we're still very early in this game, though. So we see land number 3 arrive, and it will be a treetop village for Watanabe. He passes. Liliana of the Veil goes to hand for David Ochoa. Imagine Liliana of the Veil was a pretty popular choice for Planeswalker on the Fantasy Pro Tour.
Yeah, I mean, considering Liliana the Veil deck had just won the Players' Championship at Modern.
Seemed like a reasonable place to start.
In the hands of Yuya Watanabe.
Yeah. Tarmogoyf comes in, and this time it will not be piling through because Victim of Night will say, let me just check, you're vampire, no. You're werewolf, no. Zombie? Okay, you're dead. So that goes away.
4 cards?
And yes, 4 cards. Showa confirms, so 4 apiece right now.
Go.
And here comes Bloodbraid Elf, I think. Sounds like Sifka's on the brink of going off again in game 2.
Okay, so we'll report again in 20 minutes that it is 2-0. Because, yeah, it sounded like Mulligan to 5 in
From
that
Lee,
one.
yeah.
The thing is, Sifka's got to feel pretty good, having been, as he saw it, on the wrong side of the bracket. He sort of quite fancied playing against some Jund
He would
decks.
have loved to have been dropped in the middle of the Jund Forest.
Yeah. And that is who he will, well, what he will face in the final, should he get there.
So Kitchen Finks instead of Bloodbraid Elf. Choa finds Deathrite Shaman, which immediately draws a bolt.
Yeah, even faster than Watanabe's turn 1 Shaman died, as there was no fetch land involved this time. That was just, yes, okay, kill it.
He's going to animate Treetop Village.
11.
And send in the team, which
and
puts
then play a
Choa.
Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, Choa down to 11.
11 with dead showing. That's not the land he needed. He can buy a turn with Liliana.
Cool.
No. Bloodbraid Elf into Tarmogoyf.
Smash.
There's a Terminate for the Tarmogoyf.
5.
Nonetheless, a Choa 5.
Yeah, at Virtual 2 with a bolt in hand, I believe.
Yeah, no, doing nothing, and I'm dead. And so there you have it. That gives Yu Watanabe a 2-1 lead over David Ochoa. We showed you earlier all those huge number of players who had made it to cash here, 27 countries. We sort of didn't really give the full due as we normally do to the Europeans and the Americans and so on. So we'll take a little look at that in a moment or two. So here are the top 10 Europeans. Let's see how it all stacks up. Of course, some of these still in action. You've got Stanislav Sivka. He is still playing. So that standing was in the Swiss. Eduardo Sajkolik of England missed out in the quarterfinals. Then outside the top 8, you begin with Gabriel Nassi for France. Nearly made it to his 10th Pro Tour top 8. Number 4 on the list, a second Englishman. Congratulations to Daniel Royd. He actually played Eduardo Sajkolik in round 12, and they just went, oh, of course we did. So let's move on. Number 5, 18th, we've already talked about Zoltán Tapady, Uncle Istvan from Hungary. Well done to him. Top 32, and more importantly, top 25 brings him back for Montreal. On we go. Robin Dolar of Slovenia. 19th. Who was the 7th place European finisher? Marco Camiluzzi of Italy. On we go. This time we have David Qualia of Italy again. A name I don't know. Tamas Glied, the second Hungarian, see, in the top 32. Terrific effort again. And our top 10 Europeans are rounded out by Dennis Rashid.
Dennis Rashid goes top 8, 33rd.
Yeah.
What a slacker.
Would it have been okay if he'd finished 32nd? You'd have let him off with that? Let's take a look at the top 10 Americans, shall we? Here we go, and we begin again. Players still battling. David Ochoa here in the semi-final, but no more losses to give. Ari Lax played tremendously. One of the 36 pointers ended up in 9th. A really fantastic deck tech with him as well. Never mind that the deck's good, which it is. Pay attention to the way Ari explains what's going on. Really crisp, really precise, knows everything about that deck. One of the best deck techs I've seen in a long time. Dan Jordan, by the way, if you don't know who this guy is, he just keeps on making good finish after good finish. He's only played in like half a dozen Pro Tours, but he has an incredibly high win percentage, way over 60% now. He just keeps beating most people.
This is not his first top 16 finish in a Pro Tour.
No, that's right, and that's it. I mean, he hasn't got a top 8.
Right.
No huge finish, but he just keeps being better than most people all the time. Let's see who's next. 14th place, it's Matt Costa, and we've come to expect that from him. It's like he's gone completely under the radar. Did you make top 8? Oh, he didn't. So it's just another bog standard top 16, top 32 for a very, very talented young Magic player there. Let's move on. Tom Martell. Again, we talked about the fact he played against Eduardo Sajkolik in round 14. And Martell, again, another very strong finish.
And a case for, you talk about like players going through the motions and making your opponent prove to you that they have it. Tom Martell kept going through the Storm, procedures against Sagelik and was like, I think maybe waiting for him to concede. Sagelik just was like, I can't, let's see what's happening. I know I've removed some cards with my, with my Relic of Progenitus. I think I might be good here. I don't know, but I'm nervous. I'm worried we're going to run out of time. I can't tie. And then eventually Martell was like, no, all my kill conditions are gone.
Yep.
Concede the
terrific
game.
Play. But nonetheless, another very good finish for not just a very good player, but a really improved player. Tom Martell of 2 years ago is not the Tom Martell of now as a player.
He's been a transformed player these last 2 years.
Yeah, so congratulations again to him on a very strong finish. Let's move on. Who we've got next? Josh Utter-Leighton in 21st. Obviously, teammate of David Ochoa on the left. Let's move on. We have John Finkel. So, only 22nd, it turns out, this time after. So, let's do this. So, it was top 8, 22nd, what a slacker, I think.
That's more or less what John thought. He's like, I can't believe I punted the draft section. He was really mad at himself for going 3-3 in draft. He went 8. He went 8-2 in Modern.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, he still seemed a little sour at himself when we ran into him at dinner last night. Still seemed a little sour about the draft portion.
Wow, that'll be why he's just incredibly good at Magic. When you get 22nd and it's another wasted opportunity. Now, David Shakarazaz, you were very impressed with him, the way he handled his last round defeat that knocked him out.
It's good. I mean, again, I thought he had won based on how animated and exuberant he was talking about the match.
Yep. He was just having a good time playing Magic. And in the end, he gets to come back 23, puts him in the top 25. So let's move on. 2 more players.
Oh, good on Christian Calcano, 25th. That's exactly where he needed to be or higher in order to keep playing on the Pro Tour.
Yep.
So good job, Christian Calcano.
So he gets to come back and do it all again in Gatecrash. And finally, 26th place, Brandon Nelson. Not to be confused with Brad. It's hard to do physically, but not hard to do with the names. This is Brandon, the alternate from the US national team in 2011, I believe.
Yes.
And very likable, very strong player. Again, good, strong finish for him. So let's take you now to the top 5 Japanese. We only go with top 5 because they don't have nearly as many players as the Europeans and the Americans. So let's see who the top 5 were. Well, shockingly enough, one of them still playing. It's Yuya Watanabe. Then we have 16th place, Satoshi Yamaguchi. Now, that was an interesting one because Satoshi took a draw in the final round. I have a feeling that might have been with Dan Jordan. Maybe that was with Matt Costa, something like that.
It was one of those two, for sure.
And he just decided my tie breaks cannot realistically get me into the top 8, even if I go to 36 points. And the prize of being in the top 25, that's a thing. So let's guarantee that. Let's not play Magic. Let's go me, go you. Let's come back for Montreal. Akio Chiba. Chiba, of course, where the World Championships were in 2010. He finished in the top 32, but will have to go back to PTQ land because outside the top 25. Our 4th place Japanese finisher. This is Riko Kumagai, who started off tremendously, was right up in the top tables, and he struggled a bit on day 2. If memory serves, he went 2-6. On day 2. One of those things where the notion of Swiss pairings constantly being paired against people on a similar record. It's like he found his level and then found that he was starting to just get pulled back in the back round. So that's Riko Kumagai. Still 4th place finish amongst the Japanese for him. And our number 5, it's Kentaro Yamamoto. Again, in the top 64. So all 5 of them go back to Japan with some handy dollars in their pocket.
And maybe some names to keep your eye on.
That's right, yeah.
Because not really the names I think people at home might be familiar with, but if they're appearing at the top of the standings, they're doing well, they're in contention. These are probably players you want to watch moving forward.
Yeah, and it's great that sometimes, I think of the Netherlands, we talked about Paul Heynen and Ruben Snedevine, for example, but generally speaking, Camille Cornelissen and the likes of Jerome Remy and the likes of Jelge Wiegersma and Frank Karsten, the Bram Snetvangers, all those great Dutch Hall of Famers, by and large, they're not playing a ton of Magic right now. So when you have those Japanese players doing really well, and then you remember that on top of that, you've got Yasuoka, who we all know, Watanabe, you've got Saito, you've got Nakamura, all of those people who aren't on that list, by and large. Japanese Magic's in good shape again.
And it looks like we are ready to get started with Game 4 here of the Jund Mirror between David Ochoa in his first top 8 and Yuya Watanabe, the Pro Tour Player of the Year, playing in his second career top 8.
So, Deathrite Shaman kicks us off for Ochoa.
17. Yeah, 17.
So it sounds like Stanislav Sivka is up to 2 games when Lee Gataxian probed him and saw that he was dead.
Yes. Oh, it sounds like Sivka actually cast the probe.
Sivka cast the Gataxian probe, and Lee revealed that he didn't have anything.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh. Actually, as that develops, turns out he conceded rather than reveal his cards.
Like in response to
in
the
response to Gataxian probe, he conceded. So what kind of secret tech could he have that he wants to protect there?
His
Or
16th,
is it-
17th, and
or is
18th
it-
sideboard cards.
Or is it a bad mulligan decision and he just want to reveal?
Oh. Oh, man, I was so terrible, I can't even let you see. I don't think it would be that. Sivka 2-0 then, currently over Tian. And whichever one of these makes the final, Sivka will be ready. He
And if-
thinks he's in good shape against
And
Jump.
if you get that, if a smell is coming up off your screen, that's the smell of burnt
Bacon?
burnt Deathrite Shamans.
Oh, that
Both
sure.
of which have been electrified.
You can tell
set
I'm
on
hungry.
fire.
I thought you were going to say bacon.
Oh well,
Somebody say bacon, please.
gonna have that bacon donut. I offered you a shot at it.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I should have said yes.
So Dark Confidant from David Ochoa. After 2 Deathrite Shamans have gone by the by.
14.
Yu's already at
14.
14.
So that Dark Confident in play. Again, the card advantage engine for Ochoa.
See Confidant and Deathrite Shaman from Watanabe. Yeah.
It's quite interesting that because Modern is often a format where you will play 2 things in a turn cycle, but it will very frequently be something on your turn and then something on your opponent's turn. Not that often you see someone go, I've got 3 mana and here's 2 things. That's a relatively rare occurrence. Certainly on the evidence of today. I mean, Sivka's making up for it, of course, by playing 58 things on a turn.
Yep.
3. 16.
So Ochoa at 16 now.
And with Dark Confidant advantage. Is he going to go to 13 here?
The polls on Cover It Live still have Ochoa as a slight favourite at this stage, despite being 2-1 down. I wouldn't necessarily see it that way. I wouldn't want to have to win 2 against Watanabe in a row.
Yeah, against Watanabe on the play in Game 5, and then he bolts Deathrite Shaman, plays his own Deathrite Shaman,
Go.
and attacks for 2.
Maybe we're on a delay in here and they already know that he wins Game 4.
Two.
We had a chance to watch some Magic back over the weekend. I thought it was a terrific piece by Zach Hill, Game Time. If you've not had a chance to see that, check it out on YouTube. Chance to look back at some of the matches and key decision points. You get to see just what players are going through as they work out, okay, I can Ancient Grudge that, or I can Lightning Bolt it. But if I Lightning Bolt it, then I'll be put like that. But if I Grudge it, then I'll be here, and now I'm going to do this. Just really terrific decision points. Lovely piece by Zach. Do check that out on YouTube. Ochoa watches him passively, which is pretty much his default setting.
Sure. So as I was saying, Ochoa, if he's going to be in this tournament, needs to win by midnight. Because at midnight, the spell disperses and he's transported back to his regular time, 1950s Havana, Cuba.
Oh. Is that how, is that how it
it's
works?
a little fairy tale he's going through.
That's from the whole Walking the Plains thing, right? It's like that guy with the cowl basically taught him how to plane shift. Of course, the Walking the Plains team were here this weekend, putting...
They still are.
Indeed.
Are we going to see
Putting
Olivia
things together.
Voldaren here?
Let's have a look. Certainly are.
That second bolt might seem a little hasty at the moment.
Giraffe's Messenger.
13.
I'll take 3
Drop.
off my Dark Confident, then I'll draw. It's a land. So Deathrite Shaman and Dark Confident facing up against an Olivia Voldaren that David Ochoa may be having a little bit of awkwardness to deal with.
Is that
Although
a-
I
is that a
do
terminate?
believe, I think he has
Okay.
Terminate there, so that's good news for him.
Cool.
Remember, he must win this one to force the decider. The back table busy getting ready for their game 3, 2-0 to Sifka right now. Only lost once on the weekend, and that was to Kelvin Chu. Chu, who of course made the top 8, but is now gone at the expense, courtesy of Yuya Watanabe.
So looking through, Watanabe and Ochoa sideboards, do you see anything that can deal with a ley line of Sanctity to start the game? Yeah, terminate on the Olivia
Later.
Voldaren,
Nice.
play the Gerald's
Attack.
Messenger, attack for 2.
Go.
Yep, that was pretty strong for Ochoa. Looking at Ochoa's sideboard, don't think Pyroclasm does much about Leyline of Sanctity. Yuya Watanabe,
Empties his hand onto the table. Treetop Village, Dark Confidant, Deathrite Shaman.
Zero cards.
0 cards. Yeah. Watanabe's like, yes, I have nothing. Nothing at all.
Actives attacks. He's going to send Dark Confidant and the Messenger.
Attack.
Watanabe's at 7.
Yeah, because the Deathrite Shaman is Ochoa's ticket to game 5 here, really. I
Right.
mean, he doesn't want that near the red zone.
No, he can do 4 with it over this turn onto his next turn.
Yeah. That said, of course, there's a Deathrite Shaman on the other side of the table, which is going to
Sure.
involve some you lose 2, I gain 2.
That's true.
A little bit of that going on.
Shows him another Gerald's Messenger.
But there we go. Thank you very much. It is 2 apiece. We'll stay right with this one to its conclusion. 2-2 between Ochoa and Watanabe.
You see the 2 players actually just making pretty, ideal, possibly significant changes, shuffling all 15 cards in, taking 15 cards out.
The Magic Feather Case by Incipio lets your imagination flow. Keep your iPhone protected from danger, while showcasing Magic's awesome imagery, including the most popular planeswalkers and other amazing art. For more information, visit wizards.com/magic merchandise. So, how big is on the play?
Well, I mean, it's obviously an advantage. You see people, not drawing, trying to win to be the top seed because they get that advantage of playing first in the top 8. So obviously, it has value. I mean, what it does, I mean, it's significant enough that these players change the cards that they have in their decks based on it.
So Ochoa going through the motions. As you can see, he is now alone at the table. Watanabe is taking a moment away. And there is Ochoa. He's 31 now, been around forever. 162 lifetime pro points, mirroring, very curiously, almost identically Josh Utter-Layton. Those two have been pretty much inseparable on lifetime pro points for a long time now. A platinum level pro, of course. 5 Grand Prix top 8s to his name. And bear in mind, 3 of those are this calendar year. BDM, he's done so well this year. It's like 6th at Grand Prix Austin, 8th at Grand Prix Orlando. So those were the 2 GPs to start the year here in North America. And then he was part of arguably, well, not even arguably, I'm going to come out and say it, the greatest single collection of 8 names in a Grand Prix top 8 that Magic the Gathering has ever had. Now, I'm going to qualify that because this is Grand Prix Costa Rica earlier this year, and it had a stupendous lineup. It is worth saying, I am not necessarily stating that it was the best Grand Prix of all time, because it was a new limited format. It was M13. It was set up that the best pros who were traveling, you know, there is a gulf between, much as there would be if we came to, let's say, a British Grand Prix. If all the big pros came to a British Grand Prix, there would be a relatively small number of people who could compete toe-to-toe at the highest level with those players. And what you saw at the Costa Rican GP is that the cream rose right to the top. You saw people like Craig Wesco, you know, just making top 16, as it were, rather than getting into the top 8. You had so many great players knocking on the door of the top 8. But just to give you a guide, you can obviously go and take a look at that top 8 of Costa Rica. But my goodness gracious me, it was utterly savage. Just completely extraordinary. You looked, and the thing was, I wasn't particularly following the coverage of that event as it happened. But when I looked at the top 8, I went, yeah, that has to be a joke. So you have, okay, arguably, and I love Pascal Maynard, arguably the worst player in the top 8 of Grand Prix Costa Rica 2012. He was joined by AJ Sucker, who is no mug by anybody's business. He was joined, 6th place, went to David Ochoa. Here we are in the semi-finals. 5th, Josh Utter-Layton, Channel Fireball, multiple Pro Tour top 8s. 4th place, Willie Adel. He had his 4th Pro Tour top 8 this weekend. 3rd place, one of the greatest limited players ever, Mr. Ben Stark. 2nd place, Pro Tour champion from Nagoya last year, David Schaffman. Who wins? One of the all-time GP legends and 5 times Pro Tour top 8, Shuhei Nakamura. As a lineup, I argue that I think that's the best 8 names that have ever been put in a single GP top 8. How they got there, I think people have had harder paths to a top 8.
There you go, Twitter. The gauntlet's been thrown. The best top 8 in a Grand Prix.
Give me 8 names,
by
straight up,
Richego.
by names. Give me 8 names that are better in one GP. Good luck. I can tell you that's at www.wizards.com/magic. You can check it all out on the event coverage, so you can see every Grand Prix there's ever been. If you can find me a better 8, good luck to you. They're all at it now, you know that.
I know that. They were at it already.
Yeah, that's true.
As soon as you go on the air and you say the best of anything, you know, someone's gonna have a
Surely not.
conflicting opinion.
Surely not. Well, the thing is, they're gamers. They have an opinion. Yeah, don't forget to share your thoughts about Magic the Gathering event coverage, by the way. We do have a survey going on. We really do want to hear what you say. We spend a lot of time looking at Facebook. We look at Twitter. We get email messages. We read them all. We know you care passionately about the game and passionately about the coverage. There are things you love, things you want more of, things you want less of. We understand all that, and we try and balance it all. But if we don't know precisely what you think, we can't make coverage the best it can be for you. So do take the time for us. You can help us out by visiting wizards.com/Pro Tour survey to give us your feedback. That's especially true, by the way, as we move forward with the European Grand Prix coverage as well. We're going to very much have an open door policy as we find out what you want to see at the European Grand Prix scene. So we gear up here. Semi-final, Ochoa versus Watanabe, Sifka against Lee. 1, 4, 2, and 6, the seeds coming in. And don't forget, you want to play this modern format? Get on Magic Online right now, because that is available to you as we speak.
And as we speak, we watched David Ochoa. He was almost ready to present his deck, and then at the last minute reached for his deck box, took out Liliana of the Veils, and brought back in Thought Seizes.
Okay.
Interesting last-minute decision. Depending on how this turns out, maybe we can even ask Rashad Miller to give us a little insight into why that, get a little insight into that from David Ochoa after the match.
I'm going to be very Machiavellian and ask you whether you think it's possible he was always going to do that and got himself right to the edge and then left Watanabe with something to think about. What did he just take out and bring back in?
Interesting.
I mean that's a hell of a +1/+1/+1 play, but I wouldn't put it past him. He's a thinker. Mulligan from Ochoa. Watanabe sets his hand down. Seems good with that. Would say Ochoa's pulse would be racing, but probably isn't. Probably just fine. Again, one of the reasons he's so good.
Well, it might be racing. He might have seen someone eating a chain hamburger.
Just after 3:30 in Seattle, that means it's 11:30 Sunday night around Europe, midnight or so, places like Germany and France. Hope you're enjoying still watching us late on Sunday night in Europe. And of course, it's probably Tuesday in Japan by now, or actually more likely it's Monday morning, something like that. So good morning, Japan. Your flag bearer, Yuya Watanabe, is still going. While on the back table, Sifka is still 2-0 up over Tian. David Ochoa, how is your 6? Please have an okay 6. I'm not sure he does. I'm not sure he does, BDM. He's got a Dark Confident, a Deathrite Shaman, a Thoughtseize. He's seeing that he could play Deathrite Shaman. It's a 1... Oh! I think he's keeping 1 land. I think he's got double Deathrite Shaman.
The Deathrite Shaman can make him mana if that's a fetch land, which I think it was.
Okay. Maybe he's okay. Maybe it's 2. That was only a little glimpse, but... Yeah, does not want to go to 5.
Looks like a Deathrite Shaman's going to lead things off for Watanabe.
So, Ochoa having mulligan to 6. There's Fulminator Mage, Bloodbraid Elf. There's a Dark Confident there. We know there's a Deathrite Shaman. There is only... is he up to 2 land? I think he is.
So it sounds like we're heading towards a crucial turn in the game on the back table.
Right.
And Tian played Vendilion Click, saw that he had an option between Reshape and Faith's Reward, chose to take the Reshape instead of the Faith's Reward, and it looks like Sifka's going to pull the trigger and try to go off with the Faith's Reward, but only 2 artifacts or so in play at the time that he does it.
So for the first time that I've been watching Sifka this weekend, he is not an overwhelming favourite as he begins what he's trying to accomplish.
Right. So leading off with a Thoughtseize from David Ochoa off of an Underground Tomb. And he sees
2 land. Tarmogoyf.
2 Lilianas.
Yeah.
Oh, he does have another land, yes.
Yes. So
Tarmogoyf.
I will take Tarmogoyf away because obviously that's an
16.
ongoing threat past the turn. So Watanabe draws. He's drawn a Bloodbraid Elf. His best friend from the Players' Championship. It's ultimately
the
what...
the mana ability.
so, +1 lets both discard. That's interesting. Plus on Liliana. Not going to minus it, sure.
We are going to go to game 4 on the back table. He was a little short of mana for that Faith's Reward to pay off. And
Wow.
Lee is on the board.
Well done him. So he will force game 4 at least. This is the end as far as this match goes. Someone's going home at the end of this.
Go.
Fetch land for
Poxic, that's a fantastic comment on Cover It Live. I'm not repeating it on air, but it's very, very funny. Liliana of the Veil, 2 counters. Shaman versus 2 land.
3 cards. He's going to play the Misty Rainforest. He's going to sack it. He's going to get a land. He's going to remove the Misty Rainforest with Bloodbraid Shaman, Deathrite Shaman, and he's going to play a Bloodbraid Elf here, I believe.
Nice.
Yes, there it is.
Good call. Bloodbraid Elf into, not Bloodbraid Elf, into Tarmogoyf. That is a hell of a lot of pressure early on David Ochoa.
End of turn. Do it. Four.
What does Ochoa need to do to stay alive?
Hard to imagine that drawing Jiraus Messenger is particularly the answer. 2 mana, Dark Confident. That is not stemming much bleeding at all. I mean, it trades for a Bloodbraid Elf, possibly.
Well, it trades for,
of
it
course
trades for
yeah, I mean,
Liliana of the
Lilia,
Veil.
but now in we go. 4, 7.
And we know there's another one where she came from.
Ochoa nods, and he nods in a way that means he knows he's done.
No, he discarded one, sorry.
Here we go. Ochoa draws. This has not worked out for him. There's the handshake. Yuya Watanabe is your first man through to the final.
Coming off of his Player of the Year win at the Player Championship.
In this very city.
Yeah, in Seattle. He's now heading into the finals of Pro Tour Return to Ravnica to fight the winner of Stanislav Sivka and Li Shi Tian Li.
So let's get over there. Shortly, we will bring you game 4. Sivka's just gone to refresh himself. So let's come join us, come see us for a bit. Yep, that sounds good. Let's take a look at what's going to be coming your way soon. Upcoming webcast. Well, we have Oh, no. Can't show, no. Can't show you all those. we were going to show you something very exciting there. Take them away. Take them away. Those are coming between the semifinals and the final.
It's preview season.
It
that
is.
was the preview for the new Grand Prix.
Yeah, coming soon, Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
That is not the name for a show for any season. Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Just a little tease there. We will show you the full schedule for the Grand Prix going between March up through August, I believe, the second run of those. All kinds of exciting things. Incidentally, we'll talk pretty briefly about this. Modern Masters, the new set that was announced by Aaron Forsyth live on air yesterday. 229 cards, all reprints. Some of them have alternate art. Hopefully you got to see the new art Tarmogoyf that will be coming your way in June next year. And where does this link from that Pittsburgh little bit of graphic that we teased you with? Well, there is going to be a limited Modern Masters Grand Prix somewhere in North America. And Marshall Sutcliffe and Zach Hill and Sheldon Menery will all get to argue with each other about who won't be covering that event.
Marshall's already shotgun not covering along with me.
Yeah, so neither of you are covering it. It's going to be me, I can tell. So that is where we're heading. We will tell you where that very, very exciting Modern Masters Grand Prix is going to be. 24 booster packs in each selection display box. $6.99 is the retail on that. And in every pack, instead of a basic land, you will get a foil card. So a foil guaranteed in every pack. Some of the rarities have been shifted around because this is a draftable set. So it's not just, get some cards that might be useful in Modern. This is a draftable format. It's just a small run. It's something that they're exploring. Aaron was very careful to say, it's an experiment. It's going to be English language only, but it will be distributed all over the world. So Modern Masters will be coming your way next summer.
And I saw something that some people talking about it online really referred to it as cube packs.
Ah, sure. The
For
fact
terms
that, yeah, in a sense, yeah, that's a good one as well. So let's take a look at the sideboards for now Stanislav Sivka and Li Shiqian, the 2008 GP Birmingham winner. We'll take a look at what they've got as possibilities. And of course, one of the tricks against Sivka is that it's such a difficult place to go because you're not interacting with creatures, you're not really interacting with the board. It's all about somehow getting rid of graveyards. And just here is Sivka's sideboard. 2 silence. He's got main as well. 4 Leyline of Sanctity. See a couple of Pithing Needles. Echoing Truth, the full set of 4. What do you think here?
I think the big card here is just the 2 silences. He really just wants a clear window to go off. It's just very similar to the way Abeyance used to work. Just, I'm going to play this. I'm not going to let you interfere with me. I'm going to get set up. If you counter it, well, then maybe I'll wait until I draw another silence. Yeah. It's
silence is golden for
Sivka. It is absolutely the card. Keep an eye on those ley lines of sanctities. We could see a lot of them in the finals.
Yeah, and of course, worth mentioning ahead of time, Leyline of Sanctity, converted mana cost of
4.
Abrupt Decay lets you kill things of converted mana cost
of less than Leyline of Sanctity.
Yeah, and there we are, and that's quite important because otherwise,
and it's not a spell you need to ever cast because you get to put it in play at the beginning of the game if it's in your hand.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting. Again, we can just stay right up on top there. That Relic of Progenitus is super important. There's a lot of cards you can bring here. We know he brought in the Vendilion Clicks based on, the description of the last game. The Vendilion Clicks are very good. Ancient Grudge can be really good, as is the Nature's Claim. Where you get to maybe, blow up his Lotus Bloom. Do something, disrupt him. But I don't think he really wants those. I think he wants the clicks. He wants that Relic of Progenitus.
Yeah,
and he just wants to be able to disrupt his hand and force him to try to go off when he can. Force him to not be able to go off through a Relic of Progenitus, but where buy enough time for his combo to come online, and there's nothing Sivka can really do about that.
No. One of the problems we have is that Matt Maher, who played against Sivka in round 1, said, well, I had 2 Relic of Progenitus in play. Didn't matter. It was completely irrelevant. He just beat me anyway.
Yeah.
Just played his way around them. It was like watching him. He sort of said, I don't like the term master and I don't like, zone or anything, but we talked about him being on, and sometimes you just play against someone and you can see that they are on, and certainly Sifka has been all weekend.
Yep.
So we are away in game 4, which Sifka, must feel pretty new to him. He gets to play first, because that rarely happens through the tournament. As he begins with some chromatic action.
And we also see another card for him. Piling Needle is a card that he can use, naming Relica Progenitus, shutting that off. The trick with those kind of permanents on the board, sideboard cards, is the Cryptic Commands in Lee's deck. Let him, bounce those and get to do what he wants to do. He can bounce them at the end of turn. So, again, really, I think this is going to, come down to whether or not Sifka can push through a silence.
Yep, that's fine. We talk about Sifka having to sort of wade through the fact that so many of his rounds went to time. Certainly today, though, Li Shichan has had a pretty busy time of it. He was in the last quarterfinal to resolve, took in the best part of 2 hours 30 plus against Eduardo Sajkalik of England. Just about pulled that out. Had some pretty nerve-wracking moments as well at the back end there, where he actually had the win on the table literally for about 5 minutes, while some mana was checked out and how the cryptic command mana had worked, and cycling through for Flooded Grove and so on. But he did emerge from that quarterfinal, and now he finds himself 2-1 down here in the semis. The winner faces Jund. The winner faces Watanabe.
See a hand, not a ton of action for Lee. He's got a Vendilion Click, he's got a Serum Visions, and he's got an Izzet Charm.
Yes.
Sifka, Star, Bauble, Ghost Quarter, Misty Rainforest Island, and we're going to see a Vendilion Click. So,
He's probably going to push his...
Targeting you.
targeting you. For newer players, Vendilion Click can target anyone you like. So if there's something in your own hand that you're desperate to get rid of, in the hope of something random being better, you can target yourself, hence the question targeting. Almost always you end up targeting your opponent, but there is a way to do that. Ghost Quarter sacrifices fetch up.
This is in response to the Vendilion Click, targeting Stan. Ghost Quarters, he fetches.
19.
He's going to do a better job here of ramping than the ramp deck.
You talked in the deck tech with Stanislav about the possibility of simply winning on as early as turn 2. Just seeing how few landers sitting around. He's always killing his own lands. It's like, yeah, I found a way to do it. Turn 2? Sunrise. Yeah. Six cards. There's an Elsewhere Flask, a Reshape, a Python Needle, Chromatic Sphere, Silence, and a land. That's the 6 cards in Sifka's hand right now.
Okay.
So now, let's have a look. Go write it down. And interestingly, that's something that you don't always see. The player who has been clicked writes his own hand down at the time he was being
Sure.
clicked, so he knows what you know.
Well, how many times have you not done that, then accidentally played a card that you've drawn
Yeah, that you didn't
subsequently,
need to, yeah.
and that you didn't need to play, or a land that they hadn't seen?
Even if it's something as crazy as an old pithing needle versus a new pithing needle, you know, with different art. You can even end up doing things like that, so well worth writing it all down.
Reshape.
That's why the Azorius invented pen and paper systems. For you.
So he takes the reshape, pushes that to the bottom. A fresh card for Sifka. We don't know what it is. Interestingly, Sifka, he left Sifka with the silence.
13.
Attack.
In I come. 16, Sifka.
My turn. Cards. 5.
5 cards from the Shichan.
Thinking.
Upkeep.
I'm thinking again.
Okay.
Huge congratulations to David Ochoa. Another terrific performance. His 3 Grand Prix top 8s this year. Of course, he was at the Players' Championship. Of course, he's platinum. Now a top 4. First Pro Tour top 8. 2012 has been a great year for him. And he will be incredibly phlegmatic about that defeat to Yuya Watanabe. Although, we did talk to him at lunchtime. Not often you get a straight one-word answer to a question like this. He was saying it'll be fun to play Watanabe, and I said, yeah, I mean, what else would you rather be doing on a Pro Tour Sunday afternoon? His reply, drafting. And then he qualified and said, I guess it's kind of close. It's like, certainly those are my top 2 options. So, he can go and do both now. He got to play Watanabe, and now he can go draft outside with his friends. Don't forget, you too can be drafting on Return to Ravnica on Magic Online right this very minute.
Sure.
Elsewhere flask.
Draw a card.
Okay. Okay.
Watanabe waiting in the wings.
Draw.
Draw. It's a cryptic command in amongst that lot. Snapcaster.
Get my 3-turn clock on.
Mm-hmm.
Go.
So that 3-turn clock has now, courtesy of turn 1 of 3, become a 2-turn clock. Sifka at 10.
He has the
Cat,
ability to
13.
draw 4 more cards this turn. To find what he's looking for.
Free cards.
He has roughly 7 shots in 40 cards.
So,
You 5.
5 cards for Sifka. I'd like to begin this little phase of the game with some silence. I'd like to think in peace.
I need to concentrate.
Yeah.
Almost literally, because I'm going to draw 3 or 4 cards here. So we're going to see the obligatory cryptic command.
Mm-hmm.
Counter. Draw.
Counter draw.
Okay.
Okay. Now down to 2 mana on the right of your screen. That's a lot less than the 6 that was there a moment ago. Sifka feeling a little bit of pressure here. Bauble. Send back Sunrise.
Is that a Faith's Reward he just drew?
I think it might have been a second Sunrise.
Destroy.
He's certainly got a
Yes,
second
it is.
Sunrise in hand.
And we're off.
So Sifka 2-1 up. His opponent has not been effectively silenced.
He's still murmuring.
Yeah.
We know he can't really do anything.
And in a sense, the fact that he can or can't doesn't terribly matter to Sifka, because Sifka has decided to pull the trigger.
Right.
And now you either do or you don't. There's no real sort of incremental advantage to having that 2 mana sitting there. It is just, well, I'm just doing my thing, and at some point you can show me that you can stop me, or I'm going to the final.
I like the Sifka was like, here, shuffle my... I'm going to do it again, but shuffle my deck while I have time to think about my turn. You know, talking about the chess player.
Yeah.
Ghost Quarters 2 lands out of his deck.
Something that Mike Rohn said when he won Pro Tour Geneva in 2007, he was asked a question about playing pretty swiftly. He tended to pass the turn pretty briskly. And he said, well, I spend a lot of my opponent's time at turn thinking about what I'm going to do,
Right.
because of the chess clock idea. The idea I want to do all my thinking on my opponent's turn. This is an interesting one because Sifka has to do, is obliged to do all his thinking on his own turn, in a sense. Because once he's underway, you know, there's no... And there isn't a lot of interaction.
I don't think it's like, oh, I didn't realize you were going to have to shuffle my deck twice
Oh, no,
on those
no.
2 Ghost Quarters. I think he was deliberately doing that for exactly that reason.
That's right, that's what, yeah.
White.
White, he says.
Turns a blue into a white.
That was a second Sunrise he just drew. He's got 2 second Sunrise in hand, 2 Pithing Needle, a Lotus Bloom, a chromatic something. I think it's a sphere.
And he's going to play... around the...
So he's going to play second Sunrise.
Isn't charm, basically, right? He's saying...
Right, because he can pay the 2. So at that point, many things return.
So Elsewhere Flask is on the stack.
And he goes back to thinking. He has second Sunrise in hand, Lotus Bloom, 2 Python Needle, Chromatic Sphere it is indeed, and 2 land. Ghost Quarter now, of course, back into play.
So these 2 are short planes.
So those 2 lands up there are planes from when he sacrificed the Elsewhere Flask and made all
Right.
lands
Yes.
into something.
Yes.
Destroy.
Sifka at 10. Chan at 13. The 13 really is not the point. The point is whether Tian is going to get another turn at Pro Tour Return to Ravnica 2012.
I don't think he will.
I think the game's going to end with those 2 mana untapped, and that was his last play of the tournament. If that's true, this is the final game of the semi-finals because Yuya Watanabe has already defeated David Ochoa by 3 games to 2. A good game. The last game wasn't terribly exciting. Ochoa had to mulligan. His plan didn't really work out, and Watanabe pretty much ran him over in the deciding game 5. And now Sifka.
8.
As a good taxi pro, what do you have?
Goes to 8.
Do I have to be scared? No.
No, I do not.
Actually, you don't.
Gonna write it down anyway.
You
But-
just have to not find a second sunrise in the next 6 or 7 draws is really Lee's.
I think he just drew a second sunrise.
Yeah.
As
Oh,
you
he
say
had
that, right?
one.
Yeah, but he's just
Yeah.
drawn one again, I believe.
You play that Ghost Hoarder? Oh, no.
I can play on.
Yes.
But it's all being kept track of in terms of what lands have been in, and yeah, things are looking very, very good for Sifka now. Yeah, you go ahead. And Li Shi-chan is doing the kind of go ahead in the very much the way that players who know they've lost do.
Yeah.
We've seen that a lot under the lights.
He just has to. I mean, at this point, there's no reason for him to not make
Cast leaves.
Sifka go through the motions
8.
and see if somehow he
Yeah,
screws
uh,
up,
cast
taps the
leaves.
wrong mana,
Cast
puts the
leaves.
wrong mana in his
Draw.
pool.
Yeah.
Which?
I think this one. Top one. This one.
We
It's not marked, he's saying it's broken.
Yeah, just broken. You can.
Yeah,
you
they're
can
just
have one.
pointing out that a sleeve there has broken, I believe.
Sure.
So
No, after this game, maybe.
yeah,
You draw it anyway.
you can do it after the game when you've won.
Discard, right?
It's just split just a little bit in the corner.
Yeah.
No.
Meanwhile,
Color.
there are lots of important cards
So,
in those
slave.
sleeves.
Yes.
Cycle.
Lotus Bloom is what hits hand. For Sifka.
Cycle.
Cycle away. And this time it's a Conjurer's Bauble. Cycle. This time it's Steam Vents. Two second Sunrise in hand at least. There's your Bauble. That is a second Sunrise. He has 3 in hand now. I recommend showing those 3 second Sunrise, to be fair. Because that, as you said, BDM, is frequently the magic number, which things can't possibly go wrong.
Right. Well, you think about it. By the
Lotus
time
Bloom.
he's going through those second sunrises, he's able to draw
Once.
5 or 6 cards each time.
Yep, here's second Sunrise. And Li Shi-chan has entered the drinking water phase of the turn, which is never a good sign. Back comes any amount of card draw. 2 more already in hand. Triggers are plenty. Cards are plenty. This is game, boys. Right here.
Right. We're just waiting for it to lay down and die.
Uh-huh.
Didn't use his Conjurer's Bauble that time.
Madam.
There we go.
Yeah.
Go away. Draw. He drew a land. Scalding Tarn.
Madam. Oh, cycle.
Oh,
Cycle.
okay.
Cycle. It's a ghost quarter.
Cycle.
Cycle.
There's
Gets a fate's reward.
Yep.
And to be fair, that's a very aptly named card for a deck that really is all about I can go the distance and this monstrosity will take me through round after round after round against the best players in the world, against
Shit.
sideboarding, against best of fives. Reshape, he says now.
Right, the Lotus Bloom is his only source of red.
Sure.
So if he has a bunch of Lotus Blooms in hand, so he
Yeah,
really
he had-
needed to find that reshape before he found that Lotus Bloom.
He had 3 in hand, didn't he? Yeah.
That is his only source of red for his cycle.
Let's try.
Oh, actually, he's got the chromatic spheres though. He can and the Elsewhere flask. So
Oh, so they
it's probably
they
not
wash,
that.
don't
Yeah,
they?
yeah, yeah. He's able to wash red through no matter what.
Blue.
Just makes it easier.
Yeah.
Sorry.
White.
But full marks for trying to put some high drama into that
Yeah,
moment
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Rashad Miller getting very excited down there on the floor. No, but what does he?
Draw a card. Free blue. Let's try.
So on we go. Sifka's hand getting very, very large now.
Can
and
you
his
imagine
deck.
playing this matchup against Junior Ianaga?
Cycle.
No, thank you.
I ghost quarter myself. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Cycle.
So you go island, ghost quarter turn 2, ghost quarter myself. Don't bother finding a land. Oh dear.
Free white.
Yeah, I mean, he's got all of the pieces in his hand.
Blinds.
There's the hand, and Stanislav Sivka, who
Actually, I had
raises
three of
an
those blue in hand,
eyebrow.
So if I draw the
If you draw the fourth one, then you.
before a shape, I could go off
Yeah,
the
maybe-
next turn.
maybe, yeah.
if it-
Ah, yeah. So
Yeah, I was wondering
it was a thing.
how many lotuses he has in his hand, but
So Stanislav Sivka
yeah, I would probably win anyway.
maybe I
because-
shouldn't
makes it
cast
in.
Turn
3 games to 1. Oh, sit up. You're fine. 3-1 Stanislav Sivka. 3-2 Yuya Watanabe. BDM, enjoy the semis?
Absolutely.
Good. Let's find out what happens between the semis and the final. Hint, all the Grand Prix from March to August. Let's get to the news desk. Marshall and the gang.
Oh my God, team sealed. Ah. Keep talking.
Okay.